Basketball legend Michael Jordan has faced countless challenges on the court, but nothing prepared him for the shocking family secret his mother kept hidden for over 50 years. When his phone rings in the middle of the night, Michael has no idea that his mother's tearful confession will send him on a journey to find a brother he never knew existed and uncover an even more stunning truth that will change his life forever. Michael Jordan rolled over in his giant bed. The silk sheets felt cool against his skin. Outside his window, the moon shone bright over Lake Norman. His mansion was quiet. Too quiet. Sometimes. At 56 years old, the greatest basketball player of all time now lived alone in this massive house. He checked the clock. 2:13 a.m. Michael had just fallen asleep an hour ago after watching game tapes. Old habits died hard. Even years after retirement, he studied basketball like he was still playing. The phone rang again. That's what had woken him. Michael reached for his cell phone on the nightstand, knocking over a glass of water. He didn't care. The phone kept ringing. The screen showed, "Mom calling." Michael's heart skipped. His mother, Dolores Jordan, never called this late. Something must be wrong. "Mom?" His voice was thick with sleep, but full of worry. "Michael." Her voice trembled, so unlike the strong woman who raised him. "I'm sorry to call so late." Michael sat up straight, fully awake now. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" A pause. He could hear her breathing, unsteady and shallow. "I'm fine, son, but there's something I need to tell you." Another long pause. "Something I should have told you years ago." Michael swung his legs over the side of the bed. His trophies gleamed in the moonlight from shelves across the room. None of that mattered if something was wrong with his mother. "You're scaring me, Mom." "I'm sorry, baby." Her voice cracked. She was crying. In all his life, Michael had rarely seen his mother cry. Not when times were tough, not when his father died. Dolores Jordan was the strongest person he knew. "I'll come over right now," Michael said, already reaching for his pants. "No, not tonight, but soon. Tomorrow. I need to show you something. Something you need to see with your own eyes." Michael's mind raced. What could be so important? So secret? His mother had always been honest with him. She taught him the value of truth and hard work. These lessons made him who he was. "Can't you tell me now?" Michael asked. "Not over the phone," she said. "Some things need to be said face to face." Michael rubbed his eyes. The pit in his stomach grew deeper. "Is it your health? Are you sick?" The thought made his blood run cold. "It's not about me." She took a deep breath. "It's about our family, about your father, about—" Her voice trailed off. Michael's father, James Jordan, had been murdered in 1993. The pain of that loss still felt fresh. Sometimes, what could his mother know about his father that would make her call in the middle of the night? All these years. Later, "Mom, please, you're really worrying me." "I've kept this secret for so long," she said. "I thought I was protecting you, but now I know it wasn't right. You deserve to know the truth." "The truth about what?" Michael's voice rose. Outside his window, dark clouds began covering the moon. The room grew darker. "The truth about who you are," she said. "About who we all are." Michael stood up now, pacing the cold marble floor. "I don't understand." "You will," she said, "when you come home." when I show you what I found." "Found? What did you find?" His mother's voice grew stronger, more determined. "Michael, do you remember the promise you made me when you were 12 years old? The day you got cut from the varsity team?" Michael stopped pacing. Of course he remembered. How could he forget? "I promised I would never give up," he said. "That I would use my talents to make you proud. And you did, baby. You made me so proud." Her voice broke again. "But there was another part to that promise, remember? You said you would always help others who needed it, no matter what." Michael swallowed hard. "I remember. Tomorrow, you'll understand why that promise matters more than ever." She took a deep breath. "I need you to come home, Michael. Come back to Wilmington." "I'll be on the first flight out," he said, without hesitation. "Thank you, son." The relief in her voice was clear. "I love you more than anything in this world." "I love you too, Mom." The call ended. Michael stood in the darkness, the phone still in his hand. What could be so important that his mother would call in tears at 2 a.m.? What secret had she kept all these years? Whatever it was, it would change. Everything. He could feel it deep in his bones. Michael Jordan, the man who never backed down from a challenge, felt afraid for the first time. In years, sleep was impossible now. Michael paced his bedroom, then wandered through his massive house. His footsteps echoed on marble floors. Trophy cases lined the walls. 6 NBA championship trophies, 5 MVP awards, countless others. They usually made him proud. Tonight, they seemed empty. Michael stopped at a photo of his family. His mother stood in the center, strong and smiling. She had always been his rock. What could she possibly need to tell him? As the first light of dawn broke through the windows, Michael's mind drifted back to his childhood in Wilmington, North Carolina, back to the day he made that promise. His mother mentioned the day that changed his life. 12-year-old Michael sat on the front porch steps, tears streaming down his face. The paper in his hand was crumpled from his tight grip. The school basketball team list. His name wasn't on it. "I'm not good enough," he sobbed as his mother sat beside him. Dolores Jordan put her arm around her son's thin shoulders. "That's not true, Michael. You're just not good enough yet." Michael looked up at her, confused by her words. "God gave you a gift," she said, "but gifts need to be opened, used, and shared. You have to work to make that gift grow." "What if I work hard and still don't make the team?" Michael asked. His mother looked at him with eyes that seemed to see right into his soul. But there was something else there, too. Something sad that Michael couldn't understand. "You will make it," she said. "I believe in you more than anyone else in this world. But I need you to promise me something." Michael wiped his eyes. "What, Mama?" "Promise me that when you succeed, and you will succeed, you'll remember where you came from. Promise me you'll use your gifts to help others who need it." Young Michael nodded. "I promise." "No matter what happens," his mother added, her voice suddenly serious. "No matter what you learn about our family someday, promise me you'll remember that helping others is what matters most." Michael didn't understand why she said, "No matter what you learn about our family," but he nodded anyway. "I promise, Mama. No matter what." His mother hugged him tight then, so tight it almost hurt, like she was afraid to let him go. The memory faded as Michael stood in his trophy room, Why had his mother said those words? No matter what you learn about our family someday, had she known even then that this day would come? Michael walked to his office and booked a 7 a.m. flight to Wilmington. Then he called his assistant, Tina. "I need you to clear my schedule for the next week," he said when she answered, groggy with sleep. "Everything?" she asked, shocked. Michael Jordan never canceled appointments. "Everything. Family emergency." He hung up before she could ask questions he couldn't answer. While packing a small bag, Michael found himself pulling out an old basketball from his closet. His father had given it to him when he was 13. They had spent countless hours in the driveway, practicing shots and moves until dark. His father would say, "Work harder than anyone else, and you'll be better than anyone else." James Jordan had been murdered in 1993, shot while sleeping in his car at a highway rest stop. The loss had shattered Michael. He quit basketball to play baseball, trying to fulfill his father's dream. People thought he was crazy to leave at the height of his career. They didn't understand the depth of his grief. Was his mother's call somehow connected to his father? After all these years, what could she possibly have kept secret? As the sun rose, Michael's driver arrived to take him to the airport. During the ride, Michael stared out the window but saw nothing. His mind was too full of questions. At the Maibu private airport, the staff kept their distance. They could tell from his face that their usual friendly greetings wouldn't be welcome. Michael Jordan's game face was legendary. This was something different. This was personal. On the plane, Michael tried to sleep, but couldn't. Instead, he watched as North Carolina came into view below, the place where it all began. His phone buzzed with a text message from his mother. "I'll be waiting. Love you, son." Such simple words. They shouldn't make his stomach knot with worry. The plane landed at Wilmington International Airport. A car was waiting for him. Michael hadn't told anyone he was coming, but his mother had arranged everything. The car drove through his hometown. Memories flooded back. The basketball courts where he played, the school that cut him from the team, the house where he grew up, learning the value of hard work and determination. Michael's phone rang. It was his business partner calling about a meeting with Elon Musk they had scheduled for next week. Something about a new technology investment. "I can't talk now," Michael said. "Family matters." Family matters. Nothing had ever been more important to Michael Jordan than family. His father had taught him that. His mother had lived it. The car turned down the familiar street where his mother still lived in a beautiful home. Michael had bought her years ago. It was modest compared to what he could afford, but she had refused anything bigger. "This is plenty for one woman," she had insisted. As the car stopped in the driveway, Michael saw his mother standing on the porch. She looked smaller somehow, frailer. The sight made his heart ache. She had been crying again. He could tell from across the yard. Whatever secret she had kept all these years, it was about to change everything. Michael stepped out of the car. His mother's arms were around him before he could even say, "Hello." She felt so small against his tall frame. When did she get so tiny? So fragile? "You came," she whispered. "Of course I came," Michael said. "You scared me half to death with that call." Dolores pulled back and looked up at her son. Her eyes were red from crying, but they still held that fierce strength he knew so well. "Come." "Inside," she said. "I made your favorite breakfast." The house smelled like bacon and cinnamon rolls. Some things never changed. His mother always cooked, when she was worried. The kitchen table was set for two, just like when he was a boy, and they would eat together before school. "Mom," Michael said as they sat down, "please tell me what's going on." His mother poured coffee for both of them. Her hands shook slightly. "Eat first," she said. "Then we'll talk." Michael wanted to argue but knew better. His mother had her ways, so he ate the bacon and eggs she had made, though every bite felt like cardboard. His stomach was too twisted with worry to enjoy the food. Finally, when the plates were clean, his mother stood up. "Wait here," she said. She disappeared into her bedroom and returned carrying an old shoebox. The cardboard was worn at the edges, yellowish with age. She placed it on the table between them. "I've kept this hidden for over 40 years, she said. "Your father and I agreed it was best. We wanted to protect you." Michael stared at the box, afraid to open it. Protect me from what? His mother sat down heavily. From the truth, from pain, from choices no child should have to make. She pushed the box toward him. "Open it, Michael." With hesitant hands, Michael lifted the lid. Inside were old photographs, letters, and documents he had never seen before. On top was a faded picture of a baby. Not him, not his brothers or sister. A baby he didn't recognize. "Who is this?" he asked. "His name was Marcus," his mother said softly. "He was born 2 years before you." Michael looked up sharply. "I don't understand. I don't have an older brother." His mother's eyes filled with tears again. "You did. You do." The world seemed to tilt beneath Michael's feet. "That's impossible. How could I have a brother I never knew about?" "We were so young when Marcus was born," his mother began. "Your father and I were barely making ends meet. We lived in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn. Your father worked 3 jobs. I worked nights, cleaning offices." Michael tried to process what he was hearing. His parents had never told him they lived in New York before Wilmington. "When Marcus was born with heart problems, the medical bills crushed us," she continued. "We couldn't afford the surgeries he needed." Michael shuffled through the papers and found hospital bills with enormous numbers circled in red. A wealthy family offered to adopt him, his mother said, her voice breaking. They could give him the medical care he needed. Care we couldn't provide. "So you gave him away?" Michael couldn't keep the shock from his voice. "We made the hardest choice parents could ever make," his mother said firmly. "We gave him a chance to live." Michael stared at the baby photo. A brother. An older brother he never knew existed. "Why tell me now? After all these years?" His mother took a deep breath. 2 months ago, I got a letter." She pulled an envelope from the bottom of the box. "Marcus found out he was adopted. He's been looking for his birth parents." Michael's hands trembled as he took the letter. The handwriting was neat, precise. "He's alive? You've been in touch with him?" I wrote back. She nodded. "We've exchanged a few letters. He wants to meet us. To meet you." "Me? He knows about me?" "Everyone knows about you, Michael," his mother said with a sad smile. "You're not exactly a secret." Michael read the letter. The words blurred as his eyes filled with tears. "There's more," his mother said quietly. "Marcus is sick. His heart problems came back. He needs a transplant." The weight of her words hit Michael like a physical blow. "That's why you're telling me now." "He doesn't know I'm telling you," she said quickly. "He didn't ask for anything. But when I found out how sick he is—" Her voice trailed off. Michael stood up, needing to move. A brother. A sick brother who needed help. After all these years of thinking, he knew everything about his family. "Where is he now?" Michael asked. "Chicago." Michael almost laughed at the irony. Chicago, the city where he became a legend. His brother had been there all along. "I need to find him." "Michael, wait," his mother said. "There's something else you should know. Marcus doesn't want our help." "What? Why not?" "Pride, maybe, or anger. He says he just wanted to meet us, to know where he came from. Nothing more." Michael thought about what it would feel like to learn your parents had given you away, no matter the reason. The hurt would run deep. "I'm still going to find him," Michael said firmly. "I knew you would." His mother smiled through her tears. "That's why I called you. I knew you'd keep your promise." The promise: to use his gifts to help others. Michael suddenly understood why his mother had made him promise that particular thing all those years. Ego. She had always known this day might come. Michael pulled out his phone and dialed his pilot. "Get the plane ready. We're flying to Chicago in an hour." When he hung up, his mother was watching him. "What's your plan?" she asked. "I don't know yet," Michael admitted, "but I'll figure it out." As he packed the box of letters and photos to take with him, Michael's phone rang. The screen showed a name he wasn't expecting: Elon Musk. Their meeting had been scheduled for next week, but somehow the billionaire had heard about Michael's sudden trip. "Jordan," Michael answered. "I hear you're heading to Chicago on urgent business." Elon's distinct voice came through. "Need some help?" Michael hesitated. How did Musk even know about his trip? "I might," Michael said finally. "Meet me at the airport." Sometimes, even Michael Jordan needed backup. And finding a long-lost brother in a city of millions might require resources only someone like Elon Musk could provide. The journey to find Marcus was just beginning. Michael had no idea that what awaited him in Chicago would change not just his life, but the lives of countless others. Michael hugged his mother goodbye on the porch where he had sat as a 12-year-old boy, crying over being cut from the basketball team. So much had happened since that day. So many victories and losses. And now, this. "I'll call you when I find him," Michael promised. "Be patient with him," his mother said. "Remember, he didn't grow up with our love." The car ride to the airport was quiet. Michael stared out the window as they drove through Wilmington. Every street corner held a memory. They passed Laney High School, where Coach Pop had cut him from the varsity team. That rejection had lit a fire in Michael that never went out. It made him practice harder than anyone else. It made him the greatest of all time. Would Marcus have that same fire? That same drive? Next, they passed the old basketball court at Roberts Park. Michael could almost see his younger self there, playing with his friends until the streetlights came on. His father would call from the car. 5 more minutes, Mike." Those 5 minutes would stretch to 20, and his father would just smile and wait. What kind of father had waited for Marcus? Was he kind? Did he cheer at his games? Did Marcus even play basketball? The car turned onto Market Street, passing the ice cream shop where Michael had his first date with Tina, his high school girlfriend. He smiled at the memory. Tina had ordered a chocolate sundae and gotten ice cream on her nose. She was the first girl he ever kissed. Did Marcus have a high school sweetheart? Was he married now? Did he have children? So many questions. Michael realized he knew nothing about his own brother. They arrived at the airport where Michael's private jet waited. Standing next to it was Elon Musk, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, sunglasses hiding his eyes despite the cloudy day. "Jordan," Elon nodded as Michael approached. "Musk?" Michael shook the billionaire's hand. "Thanks for coming on such short notice." When Michael Jordan says it's urgent, I believe him. They boarded the plane. As they settled into the leather seats, Michael noticed Elon carrying only a small backpack. "That's all you brought?" Michael asked. Elon shrugged. "I can buy what I need in Chicago." The plane took off, leaving Wilmington behind. Michael watched, his hometown shrink below him until it disappeared into the clouds. "So," Elon said, "are you going to tell me what this is about?" Michael looked at the man across from him. Elon Musk was known for his intelligence, his wealth, and his unusual approach to problems. They had met a few times at business events but weren't close friends. Still, something told Michael he could trust him. "I just found out I have a brother I never knew about," Michael said. "He's in Chicago, and he's sick." Elon's expression didn't change. "And you need to find him." "Yes. Chicago's a big city." "That's why I called you," Michael said. "I figured you might have ways to find people quickly." Elon nodded, pulling out his phone. "I know some people. Give me what you know about him." Michael opened the box his mother had given him and took out the most recent letter. "His name is Marcus Johnson, not Jordan. The adoptive family's name was Johnson. He's 2 years older than me, so he's 58 now. He was born with a heart condition." "Anything else?" Michael looked through the papers. "The last address my mother had for him was in Chicago, but the letter is from 2 months ago. He might have moved." Elon typed rapidly on his phone. "What? Did your mother tell you about him?" "Not much. Just that he found out he was adopted, tracked down his birth parents, and discovered his birth father was dead and his birth mother was the mother of Michael Jordan." "Must have been quite a shock," Elon said, still typing. "For everyone," Michael agreed. The plane hit some turbulence, bouncing slightly. Michael looked out the window at the storm clouds they were passing through. It felt like a sign. Rough weather ahead. "What's the plan when we find him?" Elon asked. "I don't know," Michael admitted. "I just know I need to meet him, to help him if I can." "Even if he doesn't want your help?" Michael thought about that. His whole life, people had wanted things from him. Autographs, money, attention. How strange to think his own brother might want nothing. "Yes," Michael said finally, "even if he doesn't want it." Elon's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. "I've got someone searching for Marcus Johnson in Chicago. Medical records? Property records? Social media? We should have something by the time we land." Michael nodded gratefully. "I owe you one." "I'm curious," Elon said, putting his phone down. "What was it like growing up in Wilmington?" "I grew up in Pretoria, South Africa. Very different, I imagine." The question surprised Michael. Few people asked him about his childhood anymore. Everyone assumed they knew everything about him from the documentaries and books. "It was good," Michael said slowly. "Simple. My parents worked hard. We didn't have much, but we had enough. My father built a basketball court in our backyard. That's where I learned to play. My father was an engineer," Elon said. "He taught me to take things apart, to see how they worked. I built my first computer when I was 10. "I could barely tie my shoes at 10, Michael laughed. "But you could dunk a basketball," Not at 10. I didn't dunk until high school. The conversation flowed easily after that. Two very different men from very different worlds, finding common ground in their drive to succeed and their complicated relationships with their fathers. My father expected perfection, Elon said. Nothing less was acceptable. Michael nodded. Mine too, in his way. He never said it, but I could see it in his eyes. Is that why you practiced so much? Partly, Michael said, but mostly I just loved the game. I loved the feeling of getting better, of mastering something difficult. I know that feeling, Elon agreed. As the plane began its descent into Chicago, Michael felt a strange mix of emotions. This was the city where he had become a legend, leading the Bulls to 6 NBA championships. The city that had embraced him as a son. And somewhere down there was his actual brother, a man who shared his blood, but not his fame or fortune. Elon's phone buzzed again. He looked at the screen for a long moment before speaking. We found him, Elon said. Marcus Johnson. He works at a community center in the South Side. He's a basketball coach for underprivileged kids. Michael's heart skipped a beat. A basketball coach. What were the odds? Is he there now? Michael asked. Elon checked his phone again. No, but there's a youth basketball game tonight at 7:00. He'll be there. Then so will we, Michael said. As the plane touched down in Chicago, Michael looked out at the familiar skyline. The last time he had been here was for a business meeting with the current Bulls owners. They had treated him like royalty. Tonight, he would be just a man looking for his brother. A brother who might not want to be found. The plane taxied to a stop. Michael gathered the box of letters and photos, holding it carefully. Inside this box was the proof of a connection he never knew existed. A connection that would change everything. A black SUV waited for them on the tarmac. The driver, a serious man in a dark suit, nodded at Elon. Good afternoon, Mr. Musk, Mr. Jordan. Hey, Bobby, Michael said, recognizing one of the drivers he often used in Chicago. Been a while, sir, Bobby said with a smile. The Bulls miss you. The Bulls are doing fine without me, Michael said, though the team hadn't won a championship. Since he left? They drove through the busy streets of Chicago. The city had changed since Michael's playing days, with new buildings reaching toward the sky. But some things remained the same. The energy, the hustle, the pride. We have a few hours before the game, Elon said, checking his watch. Do you want to go to the hotel first? Michael shook his head. No, I want to see where he lives. Can your people find his address? Elon tapped on his phone. A moment later, he had an address in the South Side. Bobby, Michael called to the EQE driver. Take us to this address. He showed him the screen. The driver raised his eyebrows but nodded. Yes, sir. As they drove south, the neighborhoods changed. The gleaming skyscrapers gave way to older buildings, some in need of repair. Children played on sidewalks. Old men sat on porches. This was a different Chicago from the one tourists saw. He lives here? Michael asked, more to himself than to Elon. Not what you expected? Elon asked. I don't know what I expected. The car stopped in front of a small apartment building. Nothing fancy, but clean and well kept. Flowers grew in window boxes. A basketball hoop hung over the garage. That's his place, Elon said, pointing to a second-floor apartment. According to my sources, he's lived there for 15 years. Pays his rent on time. No police record. Works at the community center 5 blocks from here. Michael stared up at the window. Was his brother in there right now? What would he say if Michael just knocked on his door? We should wait, Michael decided. Meet him at the game like we planned. They drove to a small hotel where Elon had reserved rooms. Nothing fancy, but private. Michael needed time to think. In his room, Michael opened the box again. He spread the contents on the bed. The photos, the letters, the medical records. Piece by piece, he built a picture of the brother he never knew. Marcus had been born on March 12, 1961, in Brooklyn, New York. He weighed 6 pounds, 4 ounces. His heart had a hole in it. The doctors called it a ventricular septal defect. He needed surgery, but James and Dolores Jordan couldn't afford it. The Johnsons were a wealthy couple from Boston. They couldn't have children of their own. They offered to adopt Marcus and pay for his medical care. The papers were signed when Marcus was 6 months old. The next photo showed Marcus at about 5 years old, a serious-looking boy with the same eyes as Michael. He wore a baseball cap and held a toy car. Did he like sports as a child? Did he know he was adopted? Michael picked up the most recent letter. Marcus's handwriting was neat, precise. He wrote about finding out he was adopted after his adoptive parents died. He wrote about searching for his birth parents and discovering that his father was dead and his mother was Dolores Jordan, mother of Michael Jordan. "I don't want anything from you," Marcus had written. "I just wanted to know where I came from." But Michael's mother had written back, and Marcus had written again. 3 letters back and forth, getting to know each other through words on paper, like strangers, which they were. In the last letter, Marcus mentioned he wasn't feeling well. Tests at the hospital. Doctors concerned. Nothing specific, but enough to worry Dolores. Michael put everything back in the box except for the photo of 5-year-old Marcus. This he slipped into his wallet. A knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. It was Elon. "I have more information," he said. "Michael, let him in." Elon carried his laptop and opened it on the desk. Marcus Johnson, born March 12, 1961, in Brooklyn, New York. Adopted by Robert and Margaret Johnson of Boston, Massachusetts. Graduated from Boston Latin School in 1979. Attended Boston College on a partial academic scholarship. Degree in education. Taught high school English for 10 years in Boston. Moved to Chicago in 1998. Worked at several schools. Before starting at the community center in 2009. No wife? Kids? Michael asked. Divorced. 1 daughter, Zoe, age 25. She lives in New York. Works in publishing. A niece. Michael had a niece he'd never met. What about his health? Michael asked. Elon's face grew serious. That was harder to find. Privacy laws. But I have a contact at Chicago Memorial Hospital. He paused. It's not good, Michael. His heart condition has returned. He needs a transplant. Michael had suspected as much from his mother's worry, but hearing it confirmed made it real. How soon? He asked. The doctors give him 6 months to a year without a transplant, but he's not high on the list. His age counts against him. Michael paced the small room. There has to be something we can do. Money won't help, Elon said, understanding Michael's thought. Transplant lists don't work that way. It's about medical need, blood type, compatibility. Then we find a donor, Michael said. We test everyone in my family. It's not that simple. I don't care how complicated it is, Michael interrupted. He's my brother. I'm going to help him. Elon nodded. I understand. But first, you need to meet him. Michael checked his watch. Almost 6 p.m. The game started at 7 Sagis. We should go, he said. They drove to the community center, a brick building with peeling paint and a sign that read, Southside Youth Center. Inside, they could hear the bounce of basketballs, the squeak of shoes on the court, the shouts of children playing. Michael hesitated at the entrance. For the first time in his life, he was nervous about walking into a basketball gym. What, if he doesn't want to meet me? Michael asked. Then we respect his wishes, Elon said simply. Michael nodded. He took a deep breath and opened the door. The gym was small but well-maintained. Bleachers lined one side. A scoreboard hung at one end, its digital numbers blinking. About 20 kids, ranging in age from 8 to 15, were warming up on the court. And there, standing at the center circle with a clipboard, was a tall man with graying hair and Michael Jordan's eyes. Marcus. He wore khaki pants and a blue polo shirt with the community center's logo. A whistle hung around his neck. He was leaner than Michael, less muscular. His hairline had receded more. But the resemblance was unmistakable. Several kids noticed Michael and Elon. Their eyes widened, one pointed, then another. Soon, a buzz spread through the gym. Is that? No way! Michael Jordan! Marcus looked up from his clipboard. He saw the commotion, followed the kids' gazes, and froze when his eyes met Michael's. For a long moment, the brothers stared at each other across the basketball court, the place where both had found purpose in their separate lives. Then, Marcus did something unexpected. He smiled. A small, sad smile that didn't reach his eyes. He nodded once, as if confirming something to himself, and turned back to his clipboard. All right, team, his voice rang out. Starting lineup on the court. We've got a game to play. The kids scrambled into position, still stealing glances at Michael. He's going to pretend I'm not here? Michael whispered to Elon. Give him time, Elon advised. This can't be easy. For him, either. They found seats in the bleachers. The opposing team arrived, kids from another community center. The game began. Michael watched his brother coach. Marcus was good with the kids, patient, encouraging, but demanding their best. He reminded Michael of his own high school coach. They play well, Elon observed. He's taught them the fundamentals, Michael agreed. That's more important than fancy. Moves. As the game progressed, Michael found himself getting caught up in it. The kids played with heart. Marcus's team was smaller but scrappier. They hustled for every ball, fought for every point. At halftime, with Marcus's team down by 6 points, Michael made a decision. I'm going to talk to him, he said. Standing up. Now? Elon asked. In the middle of the game? Yes, Michael said. I've waited over 50 years to meet my brother. I'm not waiting another minute. Michael walked down the bleachers, aware of the stares and whispers that followed him. He was used to attention, but this felt different. This wasn't about being a basketball legend. This was about being a brother. As he approached the bench where Marcus stood talking to his team, the kids fell silent, one by one, until they were all staring up at Michael with wide eyes. Coach, one boy whispered loudly, tugging at Marcus's sleeve. It's Michael Jordan. Marcus didn't turn around right away. His shoulders tensed, but he finished what he was saying to the team. Remember, defense wins games. Hands up, feet moving. Now get some water and be ready for the second half." The kids scattered, some still staring at Michael, others rushing to get drinks. Finally, Marcus turned to face his brother. Up close, the resemblance was even stronger. They had the same eyes, the same shape to their jaw. But Marcus's face showed years of a different kind of life. Harder in some ways, perhaps easier in others. "Hello, Michael," Marcus said. His voice was deeper than Michael expected. "Hello, Marcus," Michael replied. The name felt strange on his tongue, a name he should have been saying all his life. They stood there, awkward, neither knowing what to say next. "Your team plays hard," Michael finally offered. A small smile touched Marcus's lips. "They're good kids. They don't have much, but they have heart." Another silence fell between them. "I talked to Mom this morning," Michael said. "She told me about you." Marcus nodded. "I figured that's why you're here." He glanced at the bleachers where Elon sat. With Elon Musk, no less. "You two friends?" "Business associates," Michael said. "He's helping me find you." "Well, you found me." Marcus's tone wasn't rude, but it wasn't warm either. "Now what?" Before Michael could answer, a whistle blew. The second half was about to start. "I need to coach my team," Marcus said. "We can talk after the game, if you want to stick around." "I'll be here," Michael promised. He returned to his seat beside Elon, who raised an eyebrow. "That went okay?" Elon asked. "I'm not sure," Michael admitted, but he agreed to talk after the game. They watched the second half in silence. Marcus's team fought back from their 6-point deficit. The kids played like their lives depended on each basket. In the final seconds, a small boy with glasses hit a 3-pointer to win the game. The gym erupted in cheers. Marcus's team surrounded the boy, lifting him on their shoulders. Marcus stood to the side, clapping and smiling with genuine pride. Michael remembered that feeling. The joy of winning as a team. The pride in seeing a player succeed. It was clear. Marcus felt it too. After the celebration died down and the kids were collected by parents or headed home in groups, Marcus approached Michael and Elon. "There's a diner around the corner," he said. "We can talk there." The three men walked the 2 blocks to Ray's Diner, a small place with red vinyl booths and the smell of coffee and grilled onions. The waitress recognized Marcus and led them to a back booth where they could talk privately. "The usual, Coach?" she asked. "Thanks, Doris. And whatever these gentlemen want." "Just coffee," Michael said. Elon asked for the same. When they were alone, Marcus looked at Michael directly for the first time. "So," he said, "my little brother is Michael Jordan." Michael nodded. "And my big brother is Marcus Johnson." A silence fell between them, less awkward than before, but still heavy with unspoken questions. "I didn't know about you," Michael said finally, "until Mom called me yesterday. I swear, if I had known—" Marcus held up a hand. "I believe you. Your mother, our mother, told me. She never told anyone, not even you kids." "Why did you look for her?" Michael asked. "After all these years?" Marcus stirred sugar into his coffee. "My adoptive parents died 2 years ago. Heart attacks, both of them. Dad first, then Mom 6 months later." He paused. "They were good people. They gave me a good life." "I'm sorry for your loss," Michael said sincerely. "While going through their things, I found my adoption papers, my original birth certificate." Marcus took a sip of coffee. "I knew I was adopted. They never hid that. but I never knew my birth parents' names until then. The waitress brought Marcus's usual, a turkey club sandwich with fries. He thanked her but didn't eat. I wasn't going to look for them, he continued. But my daughter Zoe, she pushed me. Said I should know my medical history at least. Your daughter, Michael said softly. I have a niece. Something softened in Marcus's eyes. Yeah, she's amazing. Smart as a whip. Works in publishing in TBH, New York. I'd like to meet her someday, Michael said. Marcus nodded but didn't make any promises. Anyway, I hired a private investigator. Found out my birth father was dead, but my birth mother was alive. Dolores Jordan, mother of the famous. Michael, Jordan, he shook his head. That was a shock. I can imagine, Michael said. I wrote to her, not expecting much, but she wrote back. We've exchanged a few letters. Marcus looked at Michael curiously. She never mentioned telling you about me. She was worried, Michael said carefully, about your health. Marcus's face hardened. She told you about that? She said you weren't well. Elon found out more. Marcus glanced at Elon, who had been quietly observing their conversation. Mr. Musk has been busy, Marcus said dryly. I have resources, Elon said simply, and Michael was concerned. So you know I need a heart transplant, Marcus said to Michael. Yes, and I want to help. Marcus shook his head. I didn't look for my birth family to get help. I just wanted to know where I came from. I understand that, Michael said, but now that we've found each other, I can't just walk away. You're my brother. Am I? Marcus asked. We share blood, yes. But you don't know me, Michael, and I don't know you. Then let's change that, Michael said firmly. Let me get to know my brother. Marcus studied Michael's face, as if looking for something. Whatever he saw there made him sigh and nod slightly. All right, he said, we can try, but I'm not taking your money, and I'm not taking special treatment because of who you are. Fair enough, Michael agreed. But will you let me help find a donor? We can test my family. Maybe one of us is a match. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. My daughter's already been tested. She's not a match. We'll find someone, Michael promised. Elon, who had been quiet during most of this exchange, spoke up. I may be able to help with that. I have connections at several medical research facilities. There are new approaches to transplants being developed. Marcus looked skeptical. Experimental treatments? Cutting edge, Elon corrected, but safe, and potentially faster than waiting on the transplant list. Michael could see Marcus weighing his options, pride versus survival, wariness versus hope. I'll think about it, Marcus said finally. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. For now, that was enough. As they left the diner, Michael asked, Can I come watch your team practice tomorrow? A small smile crossed Marcus's face. Sure, they'd love some pointers from Michael Jordan. He paused. And I wouldn't mind either. It was a small opening, but Michael would take it. The search for his brother had led him here, but the journey to truly find Marcus was just beginning. That night, back at the hotel, Michael called his mother. I found him, Mom, he said when she answered. Oh, thank God, she breathed. How? Is he? He's... Michael searched for the right words. He's strong, independent, proud. Like his father, Dolores said softly. Like you. We're going to get to know each other, Michael told her. Slowly. That's good, she said. Did you tell him you want to help with his heart? Yes. He didn't say no, but he's cautious. Give him time, his mother advised. Remember, he didn't have us growing up. He's used to handling things on his own. After talking with his mother, Michael couldn't sleep. He paced his hotel room, thinking about Marcus. His brother had built a life helping kids through basketball, just as Michael had built his life playing the game. What were the odds? A knock at his door startled him. It was almost midnight. He opened the door to find Elon, standing there, tablet in hand. I've been doing some research, Elon said without preamble, about Marcus's condition. Michael let him in. What did you find? There's a doctor in Phoenix who's pioneering a new procedure. Dr. Amelia Chen. She's had success with cases similar to your brother's. Elon handed Michael the tablet. The procedure is less invasive than a traditional transplant and could buy Marcus years of time while he waits for a donor heart. Michael scrolled through the article about Dr. Chen's work. This looks promising. I spoke with her an hour ago, Elon said. She's willing to review Marcus's case. If he's a candidate for the procedure, she can see him next week. Michael looked up in surprise. You called her? At this hour? Elon shrugged. Time zones. It was only 9 p.m. in Phoenix. Thank you, Michael said sincerely. But will Marcus agree to see her? That's the challenge, Elon admitted. From what I've seen, your brother is a proud man. He won't want charity. Then we don't present it as charity, Michael said after a moment's thought. We present it as an opportunity. The ideal. Next morning, they met Marcus at the community center. The kids were running drills, passing basketballs back and forth in neat lines. Your fundamentals approach reminds me of my college coach, Michael said as he joined Marcus on the sidelines. The basics matter, Marcus replied. Fancy moves don't help if you can't make a simple chest pass. Michael nodded in agreement. They watched the practice in comfortable silence for a few minutes. How long have you been coaching? Michael asked. 15 years at this center, Marcus said. Before that, I coached high school in Boston. What made you switch to community center work? Marcus's eyes followed a small boy who was struggling with his dribbling. These kids need more than just school coaching. For some of them, this place is the only safe spot they have. Michael thought about his own childhood. He had always had a safe home, supportive parents. What would his life have been like without that? You're making a difference, Michael said. I try, Marcus replied simply. After practice, Elon joined them in Marcus's small office. Basketball trophies lined a shelf. Not NBA championships, but local youth league wins. Just as meaningful in their way. Marcus, Elon began, I've been researching your condition. Marcus's expression closed off immediately. I don't recall asking for your help. You didn't, Elon acknowledged. But I have resources, and I use them to solve problems. It's what I do. My health isn't a puzzle for you to solve, Marcus said stiffly. No, Michael cut in, but it is a problem that affects people who care about you. Your daughter. Our mother. He paused. Me. Marcus looked surprised at this last word. You barely know me. I want the chance to change that, Michael said. And that means finding you the best medical care possible. Elon pulled out his tablet. There's a doctor in Phoenix who's developing a new procedure. It could help while you wait for a transplant. Marcus scanned the information about Dr. Chen. His expression remained guarded, but Michael could see interest in his eyes. "Insurance wouldn't cover experimental treatments," Marcus said. "It's not experimental," Elon corrected. "It's FDA approved, just new, and Dr. Chen is conducting a clinical trial. Participants receive the procedure at no cost." "And I just happen to qualify for this trial?" Marcus asked skeptically. "Your case fits the profile she's studying," Elon said. "You would be doing her a favor by participating." Marcus wasn't fooled. "And you just happen to know this doctor?" "I fund medical research," Elon said. "It's one of my interests." Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying both men. "So you're saying I'd be helping this doctor with her research, not the other way around?" "That's exactly what I'm saying," Elon replied smoothly. A small smile touched Marcus's lips. "Nice angle." Michael held his breath. Would his brother accept help if it was framed this way? After a long moment, Marcus nodded. "I'll talk to this Dr. Chen. Just a consultation." "That's all we're asking," Michael said, relief flooding through him. "I'll have my assistant arrange everything," Elon said, already typing on his phone. As they left the community center, Marcus called out to Michael. "Hey." Michael turned back. "Thank you," Marcus said simply, "for caring about a stranger." "You're not a stranger," Michael replied. "You're my brother." For the first time, Marcus didn't flinch at the word. Progress, Michael thought. Small, but real. Back at the hotel, Elon confirmed the appointment with Dr. Chen for the following week. "My plane can take all of us to Phoenix on Tuesday." "All of us?" Michael asked. "I assumed you'd want to go with your brother," Elon said, "and I need to check on some projects in Arizona anyway." Michael realized Elon was making an excuse to come along, to help. This billionaire businessman, known for his ambitious ventures and sometimes controversial remarks, was showing an unexpected depth of compassion. "Why are you doing all this?" Michael asked. "You barely know me, and you definitely don't know Marcus." Elon was quiet for a moment. "My father was complicated. Family is complicated. But in the end, it's what matters." He shrugged, uncomfortable with the emotional territory. "Besides, I like solving problems." Michael nodded, understanding there was more to Elon Musk than the public persona. Just as there was more to Marcus Johnson than the guarded basketball coach. And perhaps more to Michael Jordan than the basketball legend. They were connecting, these three very different men. An unexpected bond forming around a search that had only just begun. The next day, Marcus invited Michael to his apartment. It was small, but neat, with books lining the walls and basketball memorabilia mixed with family photos. Michael noticed a picture of a young woman with Marcus's eyes and smile. "Zoe?" Michael asked, pointing to the photo. Marcus nodded with pride. "My daughter. She's the smart one in the family. Got her master's degree in publishing. Works for a big New York company now." "She looks like you," Michael said. "Poor kid," Marcus joked, and they both laughed. Michael studied the other photos. Marcus in a cap and gown. Marcus with his basketball team. Marcus with an older couple. His adoptive parents, Michael guessed. The Johnsons, Marcus confirmed, seeing where Michael was looking. Good people, strict but fair. "Did they know who your birth parents were?" Michael asked. Marcus shook his head. "Closed adoption. They only knew my birth parents were young and couldn't afford my medical treatment." He paused. "They never made me feel unwanted never treated me like charity." Michael heard the unspoken message. Marcus didn't want to be treated like charity, either. "Mom said they sent her updates about you, photos, report cards." Marcus looked surprised. "She never mentioned that in her letters." "I think it was hard for her to talk about," Michael said. "She felt guilty." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "I used to be angry about being given away, but after I had Zoe, I understood better. You do what you think is best for your child, even when it breaks your heart." Michael's phone rang, interrupting the moment. It was Elon. "Michael, I've hit a roadblock with the Phoenix doctor," Elon said without greeting. "Her trial is full, but she recommended a colleague in Chicago who's doing similar work." "That's good news," Michael said. "Local is better." "Not exactly," Elon replied. "Her colleague moved to Phoenix 3 years ago, but he might have records of Marcus's previous treatment. The name is Dr. Wilson. Mean anything to Marcus?" Michael covered the phone. "Do you know a Dr. Wilson? He used to practice in Chicago." Marcus frowned. "Thomas Wilson? He was my cardiologist years ago. Moved away somewhere." Michael relayed this to Elon. "That's our guy," Elon confirmed. "I'm trying to track him down in Phoenix." After the call, Michael explained the situation to Marcus. "Elon thinks Dr. Wilson might have information that could help with your case." "Thomas was a good doctor," Marcus said. "Straightforward, no nonsense." "Like you," Michael observed. Marcus smiled slightly. "Maybe that's why we got along." They spent the afternoon going through Marcus's old medical records, looking for anything that might help locate Dr. Wilson. Marcus had kept meticulous files, organized by date. "Not much here," Marcus said after an hour of searching. "Just his Chicago office address, which won't help now." Michael's phone rang again. It was Elon. "Dead end," Elon said. "Dr. Wilson isn't registered with any hospital in Phoenix. It's like he vanished." Michael relayed the news to Marcus, who sighed. "What now?" Marcus asked. "We keep looking," Michael said simply. "Why are you trying so hard?" Marcus asked, genuinely puzzled. "You don't owe me anything." "Your family," Michael said. "That's reason enough." Marcus studied Michael for a long moment. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "I don't know. Someone more?" Marcus gestured vaguely. "Full of himself, I guess. The greatest basketball player ever. 6 championships. Billionaire businessman." "Just a guy who got cut from his high school team," Michael said. "A guy whose mom made him promise to use his gifts to help others." Something changed in Marcus's eyes then. A softening, a recognition. "She made me promise the same thing," he said, "when I called her after finding the adoption papers. She said she always knew I'd grow up to help others, that it was in my blood." Michael felt a chill. The same promise, given to both brothers, years apart. Elon arrived at Marcus's apartment an hour later, tablet in hand. "I've found Dr. Wilson's last known address in Phoenix, but the trail goes cold 3 years ago." "We need to go there," Michael decided. "To Phoenix? Maybe someone at his old address knows where he went." "I've already booked the flight for tomorrow," Elon said. "My team is working on finding any connection to Dr. Chen. They might have worked together." Marcus looked between the two men. "You're really doing this? Going to Phoenix to find a doctor who might not even be there anymore?" "Yes," Michael said simply. "Why?" Marcus asked again. This time it was Elon who answered. "Because some things are worth the effort. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he went to his bedroom and returned with a small duffel bag. He began packing clothes. "What are you doing?" Michael asked. "If you two are crazy enough to fly to Phoenix on this wild goose chase, someone with sense should go along," Marcus said gruffly. But there was a new light in his eyes. Hope, perhaps? Or maybe just the wonder of having people who cared enough to search. The next morning, they boarded Elon's private jet. As they took off, Michael watched his brother stare out the window at Chicago, disappearing below them. The search for answers was leading them across the country, to Phoenix, Arizona, a city of dead ends that might hold the key to a new beginning. The flight was comfortable but quiet. Marcus dozed in his seat, the medication he took for his heart making him tired. Michael watched him sleep, studying the face that looked so much like his own father's. "It's strange," Michael said softly to Elon, who sat across from him. "Yesterday I didn't know he existed. Today, I can't imagine not knowing him." Elon nodded. Family connections run deep, even when we're not aware of them. When they landed in Phoenix, the desert heat hit them like a wall. A car was waiting. On the tarmac, another black SUV with tinted windows. "I've arranged for us to visit Dr. Wilson's last known address," Elon said, as they drove through the city. "It's in a neighborhood called Arcadia." Phoenix sprawled below the mountains, a city of palm trees and swimming pools carved out of the desert. They passed golf courses where sprinklers fought a constant battle against the sun. "Never understood why people build cities in the desert," Marcus commented, looking out the window. "Says the man who lives in Chicago winters," Michael teased. Marcus smiled slightly. "Touché." The SUV turned into a quiet residential street lined with modest homes. They stopped in front of a small stucco house with a neat yard of rocks and cactus plants. "This is it?" Michael asked. "Looks small for a doctor's house." "Phoenix real estate is different from Chicago," Elon explained. "But yes, this is the address I found for Thomas Wilson." They approached the front door. Michael knocked. After a moment, an elderly woman with silver hair and bright eyes opened the door. "Yes?" she asked, looking curiously at the three men on her doorstep. "Ma'am, we're looking for Dr. Thomas Wilson," Michael said politely. "We understand he used to live here." The woman's eyes widened as she recognized Michael. "You're Michael Jordan." Michael nodded with a polite smile. "Yes, ma'am." "Well, I never thought I'd have a celebrity at my door." She opened it wider. "I'm Ruth Martinez. Please, come in. It's too hot to stand outside." The inside of the house was cool and neat, with family photos covering the walls. "I bought this house 3 years ago," Ruth explained as she led them to a small living room. "Dr. Wilson was the previous owner. Such a nice man." "Do you know where he moved to?" Elon asked. Ruth shook her head. "He didn't say exactly. Just that he was moving back east somewhere. Chicago, maybe? Or was it Cincinnati? My memory isn't what it used to be." Michael and Elon exchanged glances. If Wilson had returned to Chicago, they'd just come to Phoenix for nothing. "Did he leave any forwarding address? Contact information?" Marcus asked. "No, nothing like that," Ruth said. "He was quite private. Kept to himself mostly." Michael felt his hope fading. Another dead end. "Do you remember anything else about him?" Elon pressed. "Anything that might help us find him?" Ruth thought for a moment. "Well, He did mention something about starting a program for kids. A basketball program, I think. He was quite passionate about it. Michael's interest sharpened. A basketball program? Yes. He said he played in college. Nothing professional, but he loved the game. Ruth smiled at Michael. Not everyone can be Michael Jordan, after all. Do you remember which college he played for? Michael asked. Ruth shook her head. No, sorry. But he did leave something behind. A box of old things in the attic. He said he might come back for it. But he never did. I've been meaning to donate it, but… She shrugged. You know how it is. Never enough time. 10 minutes later, they were examining the contents of a dusty cardboard box. Old medical journals, a few framed certificates, and a team photo from Boston College, 1979. Marcus picked up the photo, studying it. That's my alma mater. I graduated in '83. Look at the back, Elon suggested. Marcus turned the photo over. Written in faded ink were the names of the players. Third from the left, Tom Wilson. Wilson went to Boston College, Michael said. Just like you, Marcus. 4 years before me, Marcus noted, looking at the date. We wouldn't have overlapped. Ruth brought them lemonade as they continued to search through the box. At the bottom, Elon found an old alumni newsletter from Boston College. Listen to this, he said, reading from the yellowed paper. Dr. Thomas Wilson, class of '79, continues his groundbreaking work in pediatric cardiology at Chicago Memorial. Wilson credits his interest in the field to his own experience with childhood heart problems and the care he received at Boston Children's Hospital. Marcus looked up sharply. Wilson had heart problems as a child? Just like you, Michael, he said softly. Something clicked in Michael's mind, a connection he couldn't quite grasp. Mrs. Martinez, he asked, did Dr. Wilson ever mention being adopted? Ruth looked surprised by the question. As a matter of fact, he did. Once, when we were talking about family, he said he was grateful to his adoptive parents for the opportunities they gave him. Michael and Marcus exchanged a look. Could it be possible? One more question, Michael said. How old was Dr. Wilson when he moved away? Let me think, Ruth said. He mentioned turning 60 at his going-away party. So that would be 63 now? Marcus was born in 1961. He would be 64 this year. Close, but not quite. Another dead end. As they prepared to leave, Ruth disappeared into another room. She returned with a basketball. Dr. Wilson left this too, she said, handing it to Michael. Perhaps you could sign it for my grandson. He's a huge fan. Michael took the ball. It was old, the leather worn smooth by years of handling. As he turned it, his breath caught. There, nearly faded but still visible, was a name written in marker. Marcus. He showed it to his brother. Marcus took the ball, his hands trembling slightly. This was mine, he whispered. My first basketball. The Johnsons gave it to me for my 8th birthday. How would Dr. Wilson have your childhood basketball? Elon asked. The pieces began to fall into place. The shared college, the heart condition, the basketball connection. Mrs. Martinez, Michael asked, did Dr. Wilson ever mention a daughter? Named Zoe, perhaps? Ruth brightened. Yes, lovely girl. She visited him sometimes. Works in publishing in New York, I believe. Marcus sat down hard on the nearest chair, the basketball still in his hands. Marcus Johnson, Michael said slowly. Marcus Johnson, MJ. "Just like you," Marcus said quietly. "Michael Jordan, MJ." "What are you saying?" Elon asked, looking between them. "I'm saying," Michael replied, "that Dr. Thomas Wilson might be more than just a doctor who can help us." Marcus looked up, his eyes wide with understanding. "You think Wilson is—" "I think," Michael said, "we need to find him. Now." As they left Ruth's house, thanking her for her help, a new urgency drove them. This wasn't just about finding a doctor anymore. It was about finding answers to questions they hadn't even known to ask. The dead end had suddenly opened into a path none of them had expected. Back on the plane, Marcus sat quietly, turning the old basketball in his hands. The name, Marcus, had faded, but it was definitely his handwriting from childhood. The ball brought back memories of shooting hoops in his adoptive parents' driveway in Boston. "This doesn't make sense," he said finally. "How could my childhood basketball end up with Dr. Wilson?" "I think we need to look at the facts," Elon said, opening his tablet. "Dr. Thomas Wilson graduated from Boston College in 1979, heart condition as a child, adopted, moved back east. 3 years ago, has a daughter named Zoe, who works in publishing in New York. And somehow had Marcus's childhood basketball," Michael added. "Could he have known the Johnsons?" Marcus wondered. "Maybe they gave him the ball after I left for college?" "Or maybe," Michael said slowly, "there's another explanation." Marcus looked up. "What are you thinking?" "What if Marcus Johnson isn't your real name?" Michael suggested. "What if it was Thomas Wilson?" Marcus stared at him. "That's impossible. I'm Marcus Johnson. I've always been Marcus Johnson." "But you were adopted," Elon pointed out. "Birth certificates can be changed." Marcus shook his head. "No, the Johnsons wouldn't lie about something like that." "Not a lie," Michael said gently. "A protection, maybe." Marcus fell silent, considering the possibility. Finally, he pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Zoe," he said when his daughter answered, "I need to ask you something important. Did you ever meet a Dr. Thomas Wilson? Maybe at a medical conference or—" He stopped, listening. His face paled. "When was this?" "I see." "No, nothing's wrong. I'll explain later. Love you too." He hung up and looked at Michael and Elon. "Zoe met a Dr. Wilson 3 years ago. He contacted her through the hospital where she was tested as a potential donor for me. Said he specialized in heart conditions like mine and might be able to help. They had coffee once in New York." "Did she say what he looked like?" Michael asked. "Older man, gray hair, glasses." Marcus paused. "She said he asked a lot of questions about me. She thought it was because of my case. But now—" "We need to find him," Michael said firmly. "Did Zoe have any contact information?" Marcus shook his head. "No, he never contacted her again. If he moved back east 3 years ago," Elon mused, "right after meeting Zoe, he could be anywhere by now. New York, Boston, Chicago." "Chicago," Michael repeated. "Ruth said he mentioned starting a basketball program for kids." The 3 men looked at each other as the same thought occurred to them simultaneously. "The South Side Youth Center," Marcus said. "But that's where you work," Michael said. "I started 3 years ago," Marcus replied, "after the previous coach retired." "Who was the previous coach?" Elon asked. Marcus frowned, trying to remember. "An older guy, Wilson, Coach Wilson. I never made the connection." His voice trailed off. "Oh my God." We need to get back to Chicago, Michael said. Now. Elon instructed the pilot to turn the plane around. As they headed back to Chicago, Marcus grew quiet again, lost in thought. Michael respected his brother's silence, understanding the shock of possibly discovering your entire life might not be what you thought. They landed in Chicago late that afternoon. Without stopping at the hotel, they drove straight to the South Side Youth Center. The building was quiet, most of the kids gone for the day. Inside, they found an elderly janitor, sweeping the gym floor. "Excuse me," Michael approached him. "We're looking for information about Coach Wilson, who used to work here." The janitor looked up, recognition crossing his face. "Michael Jordan, in our gym." He set his broom aside. "Coach Wilson left about 3 years ago. Good man. The kids loved him." "Do you know where he went?" Marcus asked. "Not exactly. Said he had health problems, needed to step back." The janitor studied Marcus. "You replaced him, didn't you, Coach Johnson?" Marcus nodded. "Did he leave any contact information? An address? Phone number?" "Nothing official," the janitor said. "But he did leave something in his desk that the new coach might want. That would be you, I guess. I put it in the storage room. Never got around to giving it to you." The janitor led them to a small storage room filled with basketballs, uniforms, and equipment. After searching through a few boxes, he pulled out a sealed envelope. "Here it is." The envelope had "For the next coach" written on it. Marcus took it with trembling hands. "Thank you," he said to the janitor. "Can we have a moment?" The janitor nodded and left them alone. Marcus stared at the envelope. "Open it," Michael urged gently. Marcus took a deep breath and tore open the envelope. Inside was a letter and a small key. Marcus read the letter aloud. "To whoever follows in my footsteps, coaching these kids has been the greatest joy of my life. I hope it will be yours too. They have so little, but they give so much. The key opens locker 23 in the coach's room. What's inside is yours now. Use it wisely. Coach T. Wilson." "Locker 23, Michael repeated. "My jersey number." "Could be a coincidence," Marcus said, but he didn't sound convinced. They found the coach's locker room, a small space with metal lockers against one wall. Marcus found locker 23 and inserted the key. It turned easily. Inside was a manila folder. Marcus opened it with Michael and Elon looking over his shoulders. The folder contained newspaper clippings, mostly about Michael's career, championships, scoring titles, the famous flu game. But mixed in were other clippings. Marcus Johnson, named Coach of the Year at Boston Latin School. Marcus Johnson leads youth team to city championship. And at the bottom of the folder was a birth certificate, not for Marcus Johnson, but for Thomas Wilson Jr., born March 12, 1961, to James and Dolores Wilson. Wilson was their last name before they married, Michael said softly. Dad changed it to Jordan when they moved to North Carolina. Marcus sat down heavily on a bench. "So, Dr. Thomas Wilson is actually Thomas Wilson Jr., Michael finished. "Your original name, before the adoption. But why would he collect articles about both of us?" Marcus asked. "And why return to Chicago, just as I arrived? Why not approach me directly?" "Maybe he was afraid," Elon suggested. "Or maybe he wanted to observe you first, see what kind of man you'd become." "And then he got sick," Michael said. "Had to leave." Marcus looked through the clippings again. "He followed my career, and yours, all these years." "He was proud of you," Michael said. "Of both of us." The final piece in the folder was a more recent article dated 3 years ago. Local doctor. returns to basketball roots. The photo showed an older man with gray hair and glasses, surrounded by smiling children on a basketball court. "That's him," Marcus said. "That's Coach Wilson. I saw him a few times when I first started, but we never actually spoke." Michael studied the photo. The man had their father's smile, their mother's eyes. "What does this mean?" Marcus asked, looking lost. "Who am I? Marcus Johnson or Thomas Wilson? You're my brother," Michael said simply. "That's what matters." Elon, who had been examining the birth certificate, spoke up. "There's an address on this form, a current address added recently, in Chicago." He wanted you to find him, Michael realized, when you were ready. The address was for an apartment building just a few blocks from the youth center. They drove. There in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The building was modest but well-maintained. They climbed to the third floor and stood before apartment. They'd see Marcus raised his hand to knock, then hesitated. "What if he doesn't want to see me?" he asked. "He left you the key," Michael reminded him. "He left the clues. He wants to be found." Marcus took a deep breath and knocked on the door. They waited. No answer. He knocked. Again. Louder. Finally, they heard movement inside. The door opened slowly. An older man stood there, leaning heavily on a cane. His hair was silver, his face lined with age and illness. But his eyes, Michael Jordan's eyes, were clear and bright. He looked first at Marcus, then at Michael, and finally at Elon. "I've been waiting for you," he said softly, "for a long time." And in that moment, standing face to face with the brother they never knew existed, Michael understood what his mother had been trying to tell him on that late-night phone call. The family secret wasn't just about Marcus. It was about both of his brothers. One given away, one kept hidden. Until now. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope this emotional story of family, secrets, and discovery touched your heart. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below. If this story moved you, please take a moment to hit that like button. Your simple click helps spread kindness and allows more people to discover stories like this one. And if you enjoyed this video, don't miss out on more incredible content. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another powerful story that might just change your perspective. Until next time, remember that family connections run deeper than we sometimes realize.